Mr Speaker, I'm sure we all welcome debating something other than Brexit, and if I was to use the issues that my constituents come and see me about in their surgeries then as a guide to what we should be talking about in here, I think housing will come at the top of the list every time, from the parent facing eviction from their private tenancy with no permanent housing options on the table, to the tenant coming back to me for the 5th time because the damp still hasn't been fixed, to the young couple whose kids have to share a box room totally unsuitable for them. It's very clear we don't have enough housing at the right price and in the right tenure. On a positive note, my local council, Cheshire West and Chester, is now building council housing, the first for nearly 40 years. But I'm delighted to see that. But we still have less council housing than we did a couple of years ago due to the huge increase in right-to-buy applications we've seen. And who can blame people for wanting to take advantage of 70% discounts? But this policy is short-term in the extreme. It is, of course, the government's stated aim that every council property sold under the right-to-buy should be replaced. But the reality is that one-for-one replacements are more like one new property for every 4 sold. The situation is clearly unsustainable. There needs to be a wholesale change in the culture and approach from developers. There seems to be general agreement across the political spectrum that we need to build more homes, but those good intentions are at risk of failing because there is an over-reliance on the market to deliver those aims. And to date, the private sector has shown themselves incapable of working a way that challenges the needs of the country. To put it mildly, I remain to be persuaded about the altruism of the house-building industry. One only needs to look at the persimmon £100 million bonuses to see where priorities really lie. PLC house builders who help themselves to over £8 billion of taxpayers' money through the Help to Buy and then show their true colours when they rip off their own customers through fleasehold have a lot to answer for. The reliance on a small group of developers has been a very poor deal for the taxpayer, and that was the backdrop against which the leasehold scandal emerged. And I look forward to seeing the government's response to the excellent Select Committee report into this, and I do hope that we see concrete action soon. And I know there has been an industry pledge about moving away from onerous leases that has been signed by many in the industry, but I'll be frank, I think that's only happened because there's been so much bad publicity against the people guilty of this wholesale scam over the years. And the pledge does feel a little hollow to my constituents who have just received notification in the last couple of weeks that their freehold has changed hands again from one opaque company based in Guernsey to another opaque company based in Guernsey. The industry pledge intends to make the whole process, and I quote, cheaper, easier and more transparent. But these actions, such as we've just seen in my constituency, will make it more expensive, more difficult and less transparent for people to buy out the freeholds. The only way these rapacious people will be brought to order is through changes to the law, and the sooner that government get onto that, the better. So, in conclusion, the biggest developers in the country haven't just ripped off millions of homeowners, they've ripped off all of us, and we shouldn't rely on them to solve the crisis we face. The housing market is broke and it needs radical intervention, and it certainly needs a Labour government.
Deputy Speaker.